bored with the, I just hate Trump more than you do people. How could you go to a dinner? It shows I hate Trump more than you. Boring. And also, I earned all these epithets.
BillMaher just did the unthinkable. He had dinner with Donald Trump. That's right. One meal, and the woke mob lost its mind. The man who spent years ripping into Trump suddenly became a traitor simply for having a conversation. Not an endorsement. Not a glowing review. Just dinner. And apparently, that was enough to send the left into a frenzy. But here's the twist, Maher didn't just eat. He used that moment to spotlight what he sees as the left's growing hypocrisy and internal decay. So the real question is, why did a single dinner trigger such a meltdown? And is BillMaher about to be the next one to jump ship from the sinking vessel of woke politics?
Before I did the horrible dinner, which changed the world completely.
I'm curious about that, about the dinner. Do you regret any part of it? Do you regret doing it? Do you regret the
Why would
before or after? I'm just curious, like the way that all of it played out. How do you think about it?
BillMaher, lifelong liberal, outspoken Trump critic, relentless GOP basher, has one dinner, and suddenly his public enemy number one. Why? Because the left no longer believes in conversation. They believe in cancellation. Simply being in the same room as Trump now gets you branded a fascist sympathizer. Maher's crime was civility, breaking bread and speaking with someone they despise. That's how brittle the ideology has become. They can't even trust their own champions to think for themselves. It's a cult. Step outside the orthodoxy, and you're burned, branded, and banished. And here's the irony, this intolerance is exactly what fuels Trump. The harder the left polices thought, the more moderates it drives straight into his arms.
Me from before the dinner, the 10% who live on blue sky, just found another thing to hate me for. But their hatred looks ever stupider as time goes by, because their big fear was that, oh my God, I was going to be seduced. And of course, I went right back to tearing him a new asshole every week.
Maher is right, the modern left has cut itself loose from reality. They care more about winning arguments than serving people. More about looking virtuous than being effective. Every crisis becomes a chance to blame the right, even if it means rooting against their own country. You'd think they'd want America to succeed, but if success happens under someone they despise, it shatters their narrative. And the narrative is what matters most, not the people. It's pure performance politics. No real solutions, just Twitter tantrums and late-night smugness. Meanwhile, ordinary Americans are drowning under inflation, crime, and border chaos. But mention any of that, and you're suddenly a far-right extremist. This isn't a party fighting for America. It's a party obsessed with looking good while the ship goes down.
Don't watch my show, that's fine, you don't have to. I don't hate anybody or dislike anybody who doesn't watch it. But then you can't comment, because if you have been watching it, you see that I didn't change one bit. So there was no argument there except your emotions.
It's intellectual cannibalism. Support a gay conservative? You're a bigot. Question woke ideology. You're a Nazi. Have dinner with Trump. You're the devil. That's the left today, not just against the right, but against anyone who doesn't fully bow to their worldview. Even the slightest show of empathy toward the enemy is branded betrayal. BillMaher just learned that firsthand. The irony? He's spent years tearing into right-wing madness. But the moment he calls out his own side, they treat him worse than they treat Trump. That's how cults work. No love, no nuance, no dialogue. Only obedience. Maher wouldn't kneel, so now they're coming for him with pitchforks.
Well, you're invited to the White House for a private dinner with the president. Really? You don't go? Well, then you're a fucking idiot, in my view, no matter who the president is. 2, he has all the power, so, maybe you should talk to him. And then, part 2, okay, I had to make a report on it once people knew I went. Should I lie? No, that was not an option, never has been for me. That's my bond with my audience. So I told him the truth that, yeah, that guy who lives there is different than the one you see on TV. And I kept saying over and over in the piece, I'm just reporting. You make your decisions, you do what you do. I'm just saying I went down into the mine, and I'm telling you what's down there that you don't know.
Of course, he hasn't fully turned, not yet, but let's be honest, BillMaher is inching toward the edge. Every week, he sounds more like a man who's had it with the sanctimonious lunacy of the left. Can you blame him? His own side can't tolerate dissent. They don't debate, they dehumanize. They don't argue, they assassinate character. So when the guy who spent 2 decades roasting Republicans dares to say, hey, maybe the other side isn't pure evil, they lose their minds. Why? Because it threatens their carefully crafted narrative that anyone outside their tribe is a danger to democracy. Maher isn't drifting right because he's fallen in love with the GOP. He's drifting because he's disgusted by what the left has become: judgmental, dishonest, self-righteous, and allergic to the truth.
Be like, oh no, how can it's just emotional.
No, look, if I had the opportunity, if I had the opportunity to talk to Trump, I'd be happy. I try to interview Republican officials, and the farthest right Republican that I've ever gotten on was like Adam Kinzinger. To give you an idea, and you don't really have to in this media environment because it's so bifurcated, and so you have all of these right-wing outlets. You've spoken to, people have come here and you've spoken to them. There's no need for people on opposite ends of the political spectrum to go on opposing viewpoint shows anymore because there's so many. Like, why deal with tough questions when you can just get pats on the head?
And that's the problem with the left. They can't stand hearing an opposing voice. It's not just disagreement anymore. They treat it like a moral crime. Question gender ideology. You're a bigot. Doubt open borders. You're a racist. Think Trump isn't literally Hitler. You're done. Out. They live in an echo chamber where opposing views aren't challenges to debate but cancers to cut out. Maher sees it, his living proof. The left has crowned itself the moral elite, and anyone outside that bubble is beneath them, uneducated, uncultured, evil. But here's the thing: arrogance doesn't win elections. It doesn't fix inflation, secure the border, or improve schools. All it does is breed resentment. And that resentment is growing. It's flipping votes. Keep calling half the country garbage, and don't be surprised when they tune you out completely.
Environment. There's
Right.
very few shows that do that. I reached out to Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Their offices will never
came
respond.
here.
Yeah, well,
you gotta reach out again. You know what? I'll call them all for you if you want. I will tell them to go on your show,
I'd
and
be
they will
happy to
do
have
it.
them.
Because that's one thing that is very different from the left and the right. That surprises me, because usually the right-wingers will go anywhere. I just had that guy on, I loved him, Wesley Hunt, congressman, African-American congressman from Texas, Trump's biggest supporter.
Yeah.
But it's so sincere.
Oh, that's a
with Paul Begala. Okay, that's America.
BillMaher just ripped the mask off. The roles have flipped. The left has become what they once claimed to despise. Can't date someone who voted for Trump. That's not politics. That's personal fascism. Imagine thinking you're morally superior, then refusing to talk, date, or even share a meal with people who disagree with you. Meanwhile, plenty on the right say, "You voted blue? Cool. Let's grab a beer." The left's obsession with ideological purity has turned into a dating filter, a hiring filter, even a friendship filter. Newsflash: that's not virtue, it's narcissism in disguise. Maher's dinner with Trump wasn't betrayal. It was a wake-up call. And the fury it sparked proves just how far gone the woke mob really is.
Is going to change the world. I'm saying, like, your shot doing nothing, not engaging, has zero chance.
Yeah.
Mine, this guy, I'm telling you, I know this cat a lot better than I did before. He's a people person. He talks to people. You have to keep the lines open. The stupidest thing the left does, and this dinner is a perfect example of it, is having this attitude toward the right that we won't even break bread with you. Yeah. We are so far above you that we won't even sit down at the same table with you.
Look,
that is their attitude, and that makes me sick too.
This is why even people like Gavin Newsom are starting to admit the left has a toxicity problem. When a party loyalist sounds the alarm, you know it's bad, and it's not just an online thing, it's in academia, media, politics, even your living room. The moment you say, maybe the left went too far, you're done. Excommunicated. People don't want to live in fear of their own opinions. They don't want to lose jobs, friends, or family for asking the wrong question. Maher's just pointing out a truth most Democrats won't touch. The left has become political poison. The sane ones are already backing away, quietly for now. But the stampede is coming.
I break bread, and what makes them hate the left so much. They think that they're deplorables. We're deplorables, and you won't even sit down to dinner with us. Well, good luck. See how far that gets you.
Well, I mean, right now, look, we're in a position where Democrats lost the popular vote, they lost the electoral vote, and so we no longer have the luxury of excommunicating people from the party who are problematic, and so that, I think that's...
Or not talking to the other party.
Maher is right. The Democrats' alienating attitude is tearing their own party apart. It's poetic justice. The same party that preached unity is now splintering because they can't even stand each other. Maher's warning isn't hypothetical, it's happening in real time. Stephen Colbert, the smug late-night preacher of anti-Trump politics, lost his audience because his entire act became one note, no nuance, no outreach, just endless whining. Viewers got bored. They tuned out. Meanwhile, Maher, who actually talks to people across the aisle, is still standing. That's not luck. That's a lesson. People want honesty, not hypocrisy. Debate, not dismissal.
Right there reminds me, see, I have standing to talk to the Republicans because, like, one reason I'm bored with I just hate Trump more than you do people. How could you go to a dinner? It shows I hate Trump more than you. Boring. And also, I earned all these epithets.
This is why Maher's show is still running. It's not rocket science. Is still on air because he doesn't treat half the country like human garbage. Joy Reid? Gone. Colbert. Cut. Samantha Bee. History. Why? Because they turned their shows into therapy sessions for liberal rage. Meanwhile, Maher talks to people on both sides, asks real questions, and, shocker, treats his audience like adults. He's not perfect, but he's not a coward. He doesn't run from uncomfortable truths or run his takes through the DNC filter. People respect that, even when they don't agree. The woke left could have learned from him. Instead, they tried to cancel him. And now, they're fading while Maher keeps rising.
Smart guy, better than Somonex, fired like a dog, dumbass, not an intellectual, terrible show, moron, stupid guy, bad ratings, failing comedian. I earned these because I did all these editorials about Trump before anybody. I did the one where he's, to your point, where he's a con man, where he promises things. And I did the one of he's a mafia boss. I did these a long time ago. Well, okay, so like you Johnny come latelys, like I've been there. I'm onto something else. You should get on that page.
Let's be clear, nobody's asking the left to kiss Trump's ring. We're asking them to grow up, love your country more than you hate your enemies. Talk to people who disagree with you. Listen without snarling. Debate without canceling. That's what Maher is doing, and that's why he's winning. If Democrats stopped acting like elitist snobs and started acting like citizens, they might win back the working class they abandoned. But if they stay in their bubble, if they keep choosing tantrums over truth, they're headed for extinction, not because the right is unstoppable, but because the left keeps shooting itself in the foot. Maher isn't the problem, he's the blueprint for survival. He didn't betray the left. He exposed it. He showed what happens when one man dares to think for himself. The mob loses its mind. In their blind hatred of Trump, the left has become everything they once claimed to despise: intolerant, arrogant, and self-obsessed. For all his flaws, Maher is just holding up the mirror. If they want to survive, they'd better take a long, hard look. Because if even BillMaher is too problematic, the problem isn't him, it's them.